turn a quarter key into a quarter meal. Chauvinist, we don't sex traffic your whole chosen crib. Shit. The neighborhood nip shit. Full stop to the ops Glock with a big stick. Fresh shit. Revolutionary misfit. Community resistance and profit. Hit with the script shit. Black hanging out of mission. Gang bang. Always some lit shit. Fresh shit. Whether I'm cuz you be distant, but it don't really matter, motherfucker. Look, hey Nick, you got a feeling you was 7 cent. I'm about to go and vote Big Q for president. Betray these just the general of regiment. Black Sam, that's the Secretary Treasury 2020. I'm visiting on petty shit. This ain't for them fake laws. Niggas been finessing in that hang. I learned to bang on Alabama settlement. Had niggas repping Kelly that ain't never been true. This shit is in our roots. Kunta was Bandingo on a mission with the troops. Ran into Fulanis with the issue with the troops. But now we on submission. Get the people out the groove like shit. The neighborhood shit. Full stop to the ops Glock with a big stick. Fresh shit. Revolutionary misfit. Community resistance and progress. Hit with the script shit. Black hanging out of mission. Gang bang. Always some lit shit. Fresh shit. What up, cuz? You be distant, but it don't really matter, motherfuckers. In the script shit. What up, Kai? What up, blah? What up, Kai? What up, gangsta? What up, Kai? What up, blah? What up, Kai? What up, gangsta? What up, Kai? What up, blah? What up, Kai? What up, gangsta? What up, Kai? What up, blah? What up, Kai? What up, gangsta? What up, gangsta? What up, gangsta?
Yo, peace to the tribe, peace to the family. Assalamu alaikum to my Muslim brothers and sisters. Gonna pull up now, pull up later, etc., etc. Shout out to the replay gang, and also shout out. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do this review, fam. We're gonna do this review. Okay, so Sinners, man, Sinners. I understand now why Ryan Coogler, and shout out to Ryan Coogler who made this film, why he named it that. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of redemption for a lot of different characters in this film, that they may see and may not see. You know what I'm saying? And again, spoiler alert, but I'm trying not to spoil too much of the film. You know what I'm saying, man, because it's a very, very interesting film. And to be honest with you, me personally, I've never seen nothing like it before. Like, I've never seen nothing like it before. I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. It's for the most in-depth horror. Some people call it period. I understand that because takes place in the 30s. Of course, Prohibition. Of course, you know what I'm saying, the Great Depression, and of course, Jim Crow times as well. But you're also in a situation where you have so many different African Americans that are coming back from the war, namely the two main characters, which is played by Michael B. Jordan in Smoke and Stack. You know what I'm saying, though. But before we get into the film, though, man, I usually do this, man. I'm gonna start back doing it, by the way. I'm gonna start, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna talk about the previews that were shown. A lot of previews were shown in this brief period of time heading into this film, though, man. And I'm gonna be real with you, though, man. Filmmakers are gonna have to do better. I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. Filmmakers are gonna have to really start digging in their bag when it comes to creativity, though, man. I saw a lot of previews where I was like, I don't think I fuck with that. You know what I'm saying, though, man? Like, a lot of them, man. Though, I'm not gonna name all of them. There's one with Benicio del Toro that looks interesting. I can't remember the name of that joint though. But all in all, it's not really my cup of tea. I saw the preview for the Thunderbolts. Again, not really a fan of that either. You know what I'm saying, though. It's a few of them that I'm not really, you know what I'm saying, I'm not really rocking with, but it was one or two that I did like. The new Jordan Peele horror film is supposed to be cracking. To be real with you, though, man, Jordan Peele, he's been hit or miss since his first film, to be real with you. But the fact of the matter is that him does look like he's getting back on track. Even the thought process, especially if you ever play football though, man, or you're into the sport, or you want to see what these guys do to get themselves, you know what I'm saying, in preparation, oh man, and you know what I'm saying, oh man, the darker side of it. You know what I'm saying? So him is really like him is the joint I'm really, really looking forward to see. Outside of all of them. It was also another one called F1 with Desmond Idris and the joint with what's my man's name? Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is also in that. It's about a guy who leaves NASCAR, goes to Formula One. You know what I'm saying? No, didn't really have too much success. Left Formula One. An owner of a Formula One failing team wants him to come back. Desmond Idris is a part of that team as well. It's extremely interesting, though, man. I'm kind of ready to see that. To be honest with you, though, man, that was one of the doper ones that I saw, though, man. But between him, F1. Oh, and there's another one with what's my man's name? What's my man's name? Y'all gotta excuse me, I forget names all the time. Leonardo DiCaprio. One battle after another. That one is dope. That one really looks good, to be real with you though, man. Tiana Taylor also plays his wife, spouse, baby mama. I'm not sure how that dynamic plays out. The preview doesn't really give you a whole lot of interesting takes on that, but I'm definitely looking to see that. You know what I'm saying, as well. Like I say, some very, very interesting films that are coming out though, man. Some other ones that look absolutely horrendous, like Hollywood is just throwing like spaghetti at the wall, trying to see what's gonna stick, what's not gonna stick. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, right now a lot of that shit ain't sticking. But I digress. Back to this film though, man, Sinners. Oh man, I went in expecting just like a horror genre. You know what I'm saying, oh man? A film, you know what I'm saying, though. And again, I like to talk about this a lot. There's not a whole lot of black horror films that to me make sense. You know what I'm saying, oh man? When it comes to that genre, our representation is extremely limited. In recent years, our representation has expanded a bit. You know what I'm saying? With things like what Jordan Peele has done, with things like Ryan Coogler stepping into this. I'm trying to think. Ava DuVernay. I think I'm saying the name right. DuVernay. You know what I'm saying? She's stepping into that role as well, doing some other things. So I'm watching, you know what I'm saying, oh man, that whole genre get expanded and people actually using their creativity to step in those lanes. And I think it's great. This one was a bit different, and to me, it's because it hit really, really close to home. The story takes place in Clarksdale, Mississippi, 1932. It's based around these two characters. Actually, it's three characters. One that they don't talk to you about. One of his name is Samuel. Samuel plays the cousin of these twins named Smoke and Stack. Smoke and Stack are put in a situation where they end up leaving Chicago for whatever reason. I'm not going to give away too much of the film. I'm not going to give away too much. But they end up leaving Chicago. When they leave Chicago, they have a truck. And again, this is prohibition, you know what I'm saying, or America at the time. So they end up leaving Chicago with a truck full of Irish beer and a truck full of Italian wine and alcohol, which you can kind of guess what they did before they left. They end up back home. A lot of people back home are just curious about, hey, I thought you left Mississippi. I thought you were never coming back, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot of relationships dynamic that goes on in between those two as well. But like I was saying earlier, we were talking in the Lit House group chat, and I was explaining like you can see some of these characters, especially some of the things that they've gone through, and especially if you grew up in the South or you have lineage within the South, you know some of these characters. Your grandmother's told you about them, your great uncles told you about them, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, your uncles told you about them. And Ryan Coogler, who said in a few interviews that he had the inspiration to make this film actually dealing with, you know what I'm saying, his grandfather who was actually from that area in Mississippi, But he said growing up, he would never really talk about it unless you got him drunk. And when you got him drunk, he would tell you all of these stories and scenarios and things of that nature that went on with him in his life. And he said some of those stories were just so amazing that he had to go ahead and make a film that was based around it. I will say this: he did his history on this one. He did his research very well on this one. There are a lot of nuanced things about that area, a lot of nuanced things about certain things that people did back then. Like for instance, the character Smoke, who again played by Michael B. Jordan, um, always carries something called a hoodoo sack around his neck. That was something that was a spiritual so-called lineage to a lot of black people. If they were traveling, if they were I'm saying, working far away, etc., they would wear this thing and it would have certain kind of herbs and other things within it, and they would say it was blessed. It was more so of a call back to some of the things that they would do in Africa. Also, women would wear something around their waist called a nation sack. If you've ever listened to Muddy Waters and some of the music that he's put out, especially Bob Johnson, by the way, and me personally, I feel like the character Samuel, who plays the cousin of Smoke and Stack, I feel like that's who they were trying to embody. They were trying to embody because he has a lot of that within his spirit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but when the scenes first start and he's riding with Smoke and Stack and they're having a conversation. And again, if you don't like spoilers, I would ask you to leave at this moment because I'm about to get into the film and into some of the interesting aspects of it. There's a scene at the beginning of the film. They pick up Samuel from his father's church. You can see that there's a strained relationship between Smoke and Stack and Samuel's father. Later, while they're in the car and they're headed towards where they hid, you know what I'm saying, of the prohibition alcohol that they're going to use to try to open up this club, this nightclub. They're having a conversation, you know what I'm saying, oh man, and Samuel's pretty much asking them about Chicago, what it was like, and he pretty much explains to them like, you know what I'm saying, Chicago was just a big plantation with a whole bunch of big buildings. You know what I'm saying? They're still not going to let us get ahead, which is a very interesting comment, you know what I'm saying? And there's more nuanced conversations about things like that later on in the film. But while they're sitting in the car and they're talking, Samuel brings up to Stack. He doesn't really ask Smoke because Smoke is the more serious brother. You know what I'm saying? Stack is more so of, you know what I'm saying, creating business, trying to find finances, you know what I'm saying, being very flamboyant, etc., etc. So he sits down and he talks with Stack and he asks him, he's like, is it true y'all killed y'all daddy? Which would be Samuel's uncle. And Stack looks at him and he smiles and he's just like, nah, man. And he keeps driving. And then finally he opens his mouth and he goes, man, to be real with you, man, by the time I woke up, Smoke was already burying daddy. And he looked at him and his eyes got really big and he was just like, listen, man, you know what kind of man my father was. He was like, when I look at your daddy, he was like, I don't even know how they came from the same people. It's a very, very harsh and interesting dynamic. And for Ryan Coogler to put something like that in the film, and again, like I say, it's something that's familiar, especially in the family dynamic. Like for instance, you may have a brother who was always in and out of jail, and you don't know why he keeps doing that. And yet the other brother is in finances or something like that. And you're like, you were raised by the same people. How are you this different? So that was the interesting part about that, you know what I'm saying, conversation that they were having. And also you get to see some of the guilt in Stack's face because the situation that happened with his father happened because of an argument that he started with his father. His father struck him and he went unconscious. And when he went unconscious, he woke back up and like you said, Smoke was already burying daddy. You know, so it's a very interesting dynamic. Also, like I say, historically, some of the things that they put in there. Again, the nation sacks, the hoodoo bags. Also a very deep conversation that they had was with the character. I want to say her name was Mary. Mary came around, and the first thing that Samuel did was he ran because he's like, "Oh my God, it's a white woman." You know what I'm saying? They're like, I don't want to get hung. Like, get away from her. And she starts talking to Stack in a certain type of way, and Stack is just like, she good. And then she gets to talking about, you know what I'm saying, her mother passing. Her mother recently passed. And why didn't they show up for the funeral? And Stack kind of nonchalantly, you know what I'm saying, pretty much said, like, hey, because I celebrated her while she was alive. You know what I'm saying? She was like, you didn't even send any flowers to her funeral. She was like, go check your mama house. Your mama had flowers for every day that she was breathing from me. And she kind of gets upset and walks away. And they explain what Mary is later on. Mary is what we would have called back in the day as passing. What passing is that someone from African American culture ended up being with someone from white culture. You come out and you don't quite look black. You don't have those features whatsoever. So because you don't have those features, because you're in fear of someone either hanging you, putting you in jail, etc., etc., you either choose one race or the other. You either go to the situation that you look like, which is, you know what I'm saying, the white part, which is, again, passing. Or if you didn't really look, you know what I'm saying, a white enough, you stayed with the African American side. So, and you didn't mention who your parents or who they were, etc., etc. That's how that went. Also something that I really, really liked and appreciated that Ryan Coogler did was, and I wish he put more scenes in there like this, but I know that they were short for time because, again, this is a 3-hour film, and he put a lot of detail into those 3 hours. But there was certain portions where I wanted to see, which was when the Choctaw natives show up and they get to see the character Remick, who is the initial vampire that starts everything that's going on. Remick runs to these people's houses and he's screaming, "Help me! They're trying to kill me! They're trying to kill me!" But when he comes to their home, his whole back is on fire because it's daylight. You know what I'm saying? It looks like he's been bruised and beaten, etc., etc. And he's saying, you know what I'm saying? Oh, the natives are trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he calls them savages, but he says the savages are trying to kill me. And, you know what I'm saying? The people thinking he's a man that's been beaten and, you know what I'm saying, robbed, because that's the story that he tells. They allow him back into their home. They grab their rifles. The natives show up, you know what I'm saying, which were the Choctaw at the time. And the Choctaw are pretty just like, there's a dangerous man out here on the run. Like, and he's very, you know what I'm saying, convincing. And if I was you, I would go ahead, you know what I'm saying, oh man, and if you have this man, hand him over. And if you don't, you know what I'm saying, oh man, I would lock your doors and stay inside for the entire night. They don't believe him, you know what I'm saying, oh, they start, you know what I'm saying, kind of have a little debate back and forth towards each other. The natives start to look at the sun and how it's, you know what I'm saying, sitting in the sky, and they're like, sunset's coming, we got to go. And, you know what I'm saying, the couple that is taking Remick in, you know what I'm saying, are looking at each other like, you know what I'm saying, what does that mean? And they were just like, listen, and just stay inside if you haven't seen it. And they get on their horses, they get back in, you know what I'm saying, their cars and things of that nature, and they catch out. Well, of course, Remick does what he does, and he makes his, I'm not going to tell the rest of that. But like I say, it's interesting, very interesting. The way Ryan Coogler shot this, in my opinion, might be one of the best shot films I've ever seen in my life. And you can see some of I'm going to say this. If you ever remember Ryan Coogler from Fruitvale Station was a very good film, but the cinematography, in my opinion, was very basic. It wasn't a whole lot of panning out. It wasn't a whole lot of blending shots. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole lot of rotating and things like that. I don't know if it's because of the Marvel films that he's done now, or because of, you know what I'm saying, some of the other work he's done with Michael B. Jordan since. The cinematography was absolutely unbelievable. there's a scene in this film, and I need y'all to understand like how beautifully it was shot, because it doesn't pan out. It doesn't move until it needs to move. It's extremely tough to explain this. But it's a scene where Samuel, you know what I'm saying, whose father, who's the preacher, by the way, tells him, he's like, you know what I'm saying, oh, like, you need to stop playing in these juke joints. You need to stop, you know what I'm saying, doing this blues music. Like, you're going to get yourself hurt. You're going to get yourself killed, etc., etc. And he's in the middle of Smoke and Stack's club. And they're allowing him to play there that night. And Stack's like, hey, he needs to be a regular. And Smoke is just like, this is the last night he'll ever be in here. And they kind of have a little debate about that. But there's a scene where by the way, Delroy Lindo did his thing. If he doesn't win an Oscar for this one, there's something going on. Like he did something to somebody at the Oscars. I don't know what it is. Because like this is the second film I've seen him in where he is not really the main character and he steals the show. There's so many different scenes where he just has dialogue, and I'm not sure if that's dialogue that was written for him or something that he ad-libbed, but my goodness, man, it fits perfectly. It fits perfectly. But there's a scene where Delroy Lindo's character, who is talking to Samuel's character, and he's explaining to him, you know what I'm saying, about the hatred he gets from his father. He's explaining to him about, you know what I'm saying, oh man, I'm talented, but am I talented enough to please him? And he's pretty much telling him, you got to play from your soul. You got to play from your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, if you're going to do this, you need to play from a place where sometimes you can see from the past and see from the future, which is a weird comment. But there's a sequence where Samuel is singing and he's playing. And when he's playing, that conversation is playing in his head. It's almost like a flashback. And you still hear the song going that he's playing. You still hear the instruments that are playing, et cetera, et cetera. But while you're seeing that, when he says that about the future and the past, in the crowd where everyone else is dancing, all of a sudden, these two African dancers are dancing. And they're moving. And they're dancing. And then the camera kind of pans and slowly pans around to the rest of the crowd. Then it's somebody else in the crowd that looks like he could be Bootsy Collins or somebody with the electric car playing. Like, it's crazy. And then you pan off to another scene where they're, you know what I'm saying, it's like the camera's just like weaving through the club. You know what I'm saying, though? Just weaving through the club. And while it's weaving through the club, you can see somebody on two turntables. You can see, and it pretty much explaining how the influence of blues music has been attached to rock and roll, attached to country, attached to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Blues music is American music. And that's pretty much what he was saying in that scene. But the way it's shot, it's the most gorgeous shot I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's not like a whole lot of extra movement. It's not like a whole lot of, I'm trying to show you, you know what I'm saying, this or that. It's like having just like a basic conversation with a friend. That's what it felt like. You know what I'm saying? We're just talking about anything. And that friend understands or gets exactly what you're saying. So it just smoothly just moves. And when I tell you, to me, in my opinion, that's the most beautifully shot scene I've ever seen in a film ever. And I absolutely loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. But there's so much, you know what I'm saying, oh man, in that film that really, you know what I'm saying, resonated with me. The characters, you know what I'm saying, I gotta remember the sister name because I can't remember her name. I just remember she was in Lovecraft Country. She played Journey Smollet's sister in Lovecraft Country. What is that sister's name? Hold on, I'm finna find it. Because I can't go without, you know what I'm saying, giving her propers. Wunimi Masaku. She plays Annie in the film, and Annie is the love interest of Smoke. You know what I'm saying? The situation with Smoke and Annie is very, you know what I'm saying, complicated. And the reason it's complicated is because in the beginning, well, not really the beginning of the film, but it's like more so the early parts of the film. Because like I say, this is a long film, extremely long film. But when she, you know what I'm saying, when you first see her character in the film, it's Smoke kneeling at a grave. And the grave is tiny, so you know this is a child buried in there. And from what, you know what I'm saying, or the dialogue proceeds after the fact is that they had a child together and the child died. And after the child died, you know what I'm saying, though, yeah, she played opposite Journey Smollett in Lovecraft Country. She played her sister, the dark skinned one. You know what I'm saying, though? But she's a hell of an actress. Hell of an actress. But in that scene is very interesting because, you know what I'm saying, though, he has his hoodoo bag around his neck still. And not so much of believing in its power. It was more so of his connection to Annie at the time, because that's how he felt. I mean, they go from, you know what I'm saying, living in Mississippi to Stack was pimping out some girl in Arkansas. Something happened with that, which is not really explained in the film. You know what I'm saying? But he was pimping women out in Arkansas to the point where they ended up joining the army, going to Germany. And when they went to Germany, they went to Chicago. Went to Chicago, you know what I'm saying, though. Yeah, like it's crazy. Like it's a crazy film. Like it's and it has so much of that time. And you got to understand some of the things that Ryan Coogler put in this film. Like I've heard my grandmothers talk about this stuff. I've heard my aunties and uncles talk about this stuff. And I was sitting in the film and I was watching it. And I asked someone who was with me at the time, I was like, who does that remind you of? And they pretty much were like, oh, that's Uncle Will, and that's, you know what I'm saying, oh, Uncle Dudley. He was like, Smokers on Uncle Dudley. That's you know what I'm saying, oh, that's Uncle Will. Like they knew exactly who I was talking about by watching this film, by looking at these characters. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but it's like I say, it's a mind-blowing film. And there's certain portions of it, you know what I'm saying, oh man, that I was just like, Ryan Coogler is doing it again. Especially where the Remick character. I wanted to research what the name Remick meant before I started this live, but I'm probably going to end up doing it after the fact because I'm pretty sure there's something heavy behind that name. That's not a normal name you hear from anybody every day. You know what I'm saying? And the way he, you know what I'm saying, though, appears in the film when you first see him is something that's really like, it's off. It's really off. But when it comes to creativity, when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, of seeing something that we've heard of but never seen on screen before, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like, this is best film. Best film, bro. Best film, man. Like, I was really shocked. I was really impressed. And me personally, when it comes to black filmmakers, like, I like to ride with them. I do. But I was hearing so much hype about this film before going to see it. I had started to start having doubts about whether this was going to be a good film, or was this just a hype job done by a lot of writers or people that owed Ryan Coogler some favors or whatever the situation may be? When I left the film on a like, wow, you know what I'm saying, though? Especially the end scenes, the end cut scenes. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? I left it on like, wow. And I understand what he's doing now because working with Marvel, you never want to leave a story in a situation where you can't make money off of it. Is Remick. Remick is the main villain's name, the main vampire. You know what I'm saying, though? But yeah, man, hell of a film. Hell of a film. Like I can't knock it. I can't knock nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Though? The only thing that I can honestly say that I wasn't really a fan of was musically some of the people that they attached to it. Like the whole Rod Wave single that they have out right now. Not really my cup of tea, bro. Like you have to understand this movie had a lot of blues, American blues music in it. You know what I'm saying, oh man? And to just throw Rod Wave in there, to me, it felt more commercial than anything. And that's another reason why I said I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this film or not. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and it is what it is. But all in all, though, man, 5 out of 5, man. Amazing film. Amazing film. And all I can say is Ryan Coogler did it again, man, because I wasn't expecting that kind of ride. Number one, I didn't expect the movie to be 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? Though I thought I was gonna go in there, get like, you know what I'm saying, hour and a half to 2 hours of, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of action, and we gonna move on. You know what I'm saying? Which isn't a bad thing, you know what I'm saying, because of the economy and how films do it whatsoever. But I didn't expect this man to put so much detailed information and detailed conversation, you know what I'm saying, about our history, our past, where we come from, uh, what we considered spirituality when we first got here, um, losing, you know what I'm saying, man, losing humanity and trying to gain humanity back. That was a huge conversation there, especially with characters like Smoke and character like Delroy Lindo's character Slim. You know what I'm saying? Both of those men, man, it's some dialogue that they have during this film, especially when they first meet Slim and explain, you know what I'm saying, what he is and where he came from. And, you know what I'm saying, his just almost a man defeated, you know what I'm saying? And all he had left was the blues, his harmonica and the blues, you know what I'm saying? But it was reminiscent of real men and of a real time, you know what I'm saying, where you had to do what you had to do, you know what I'm saying? And it was brilliant, man. It was really brilliant, you know what I'm saying? And even the reactionary things of seeing something supernatural. Like you can see certain horror films, though, man. And in some of those horror films, like you see certain reactions from people, like when they see, you know what I'm saying, a ghost or something like that, or they see, you know what I'm saying, some demonic thing, and it's more so, oh, what is this? And it's like almost interesting, intriguing. I'm like, that's not human reaction. You know what I'm saying, though? So the human reaction that I saw, you know what I'm saying, on that film, especially when it came to, you know what I'm saying, even people like Smoke, who through most of the film, all you see is this stone cold killer. And someone like Stack, who you see somebody who very slick and, you know what I'm saying, very, you know what I'm saying, deceiving and very, you know what I'm saying, manipulative. And he doesn't really break a sweat too much. He really cool with everything. But when certain things started happening, like you got to see the panic on their face. You got to see the, oh, this might be the end, you know what I'm saying, type issue on their face. Like that's the stuff that you get to see. And the conversations with about, you know what I'm saying, I ain't gonna bring that up. I ain't gonna bring that up. I ain't gonna bring because it's like I say, it's so much in this 3 hour film. It's so much in this film. And like I say, I was appreciative of it. I really was, man. And again, I'm no Hollywood, nothing paid me to do this. This was just going to see a film, very interested in it, wanted to understand and see the viewpoints, you know what I'm saying, of that. Because I've seen a lot of interviews of Ryan Coogler leading up to the release of this film. And a lot of those interviews kind of left you wanting of an explanation of what this really is. Because you go in thinking it's a horror movie, seeing the previews for like months and months and months at a time. But then he gets in a lot of interviews and he starts talking about how, you know what I'm saying, his grandfather was really an inspiration, and some of the conversations that they had was the inspiration for this. Just so much different stuff is in this, man. It's so much different stuff. It's an amazing film, man. Amazing film. I can't stress that enough. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. If you get a chance, go see it. Go see it. Like if you really get a chance, go see that joint. Because it's like I say though, man, if especially if you're someone of color. If you're someone of color and want to like actually look in a time glass and just be like, I want to see like how my great grandmother lived and my grandmother lived and my grandfather lived. You know what I'm saying though? And you really want to see how they lived, and you just got to be like, you got to go see this film. Because like I say, the Great Depression can be talked about, but if you ain't lived through that thing, you don't get to see it. You know what I'm saying though? Like it's an amazing, great film. You know what I'm saying though, man? But yeah, man, it's been real, y'all. It's been real. That's my take on this joint though, man. Like I say, 5 out of 5 for me. You know what I'm saying though? What are you talking about? Who's crip walking in the film? Niggas be coming on here trolling. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, man, it was heck of a film, though, man. The guy who played Samuel, man, I'm gonna be real with you. They picked the perfect character. They picked the perfect actor to play that. Very unassuming. You know what I'm saying? He has a very young look. He has a very innocent look. You know what I'm saying, oh man? And the way he plays his character really molds off of what they were trying to do with the I guess I don't want to say evilness, because they like to look at Smoke and Stack as bad people and as evil people. But you got to be sympathetic to their plight. You know what I'm saying, though? You got to be sympathetic to it. You know what I'm saying, though? Because they even, and it's sad when you hear Smoke talking about it. And he talks about, okay, I'll talk about this thing and I'm going to leave it be. There's a scene where they're upstairs. You know what I'm saying, oh man, after Samuel has performed. And when Samuel performs, you know what I'm saying, oh man, Smoke is pretty much saying that what I was trying to explain to y'all earlier. That did happen, word. You right. I was wrong. I remember that scene. Because homie had the red flag hanging out the back while the DJ booth was playing. I remember that. But nah, yo. They have a conversation. They have a conversation upstairs. And Smoke is trying to explain to him, like, you got to understand, yeah, your daddy and my daddy were brothers. But everybody looked at my daddy, knew my daddy was a bad man. When they looked at your father, they looked at your father like he was a human being. He's a preacher. He was like, I ain't had no choice but to be what I am. He says, and this needs to be the last night I see you in somewhere like this. And Sammy's just like, nah, I'm going to get out of here. He said, I don't want to die sharecropper. I don't want to die you know what I'm saying, oh, just a nothing and nobody knows my name. He was like, yeah, my father a good man, but don't nobody know his name. And he pretty much looked at him like, that don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Oh, like, I got a fire waiting for me. And that's pretty much what he was trying to explain to him. And it was just such a heavy scene, man. It was such a heavy scene. You know what I'm saying, oh, man? Yup. Everyone expected Smoke to be evil because of who his dad was. So I'm stuck with it. Dog, it was the saddest scene, because you know how many brothers I know who grew up in a situation like, you know, my daddy used to sell dope. So, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Or, you know, my daddy went to prison for killing a nigga. What you think I'm going to do? And they feel like their legacy is tied behind someone like that. Like, it was just such a revelation. Seeing that. It was the heaviest conversation, oh man. And it was sad. It was sad as fuck, because it's just like, you don't see yourself and shit else like that. And even when he's talking to Sammy upstairs and he ends up pulling a gun on Sammy, because he's telling Sammy, like, you know what I'm saying, you gonna leave this joint, I'm gonna shoot you, nigga. And Sammy goes, well, do it then. And he pulls the gun out. He said, don't you know you gave a soldier orders, boy? Like, it's heavy, bro. It's heavy. It's heavy, man. He said, I can't be nothing but what I am. But yeah, man, it's a lot of interesting conversations that Ryan Coogler pulled out in this particular film that can 100% resonate with anything going on today. It 100% can resonate with that. And because it can resonate so well, you know what I'm saying, oh man, I feel like that's why it's playing off the way it's playing off right now. You know what I'm saying? It's getting the reviews that it's getting, because you have to understand, certain parts of America don't even believe we went through nothing like that. Certain parts of America don't even believe that this is our history. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain parts of America don't even think it's real. To the fact where you can find somebody who can dig into someone who was in their family and create a story like this, and the reality shows that this is history repeating itself. Man. But I didn't want to dig too deep in this joint, though, man. I really just wanted to get this thing popping. Like, I am going to be back doing these joints a lot more. I promise you that. A lot more, though, man. Also trying to deal with a studio right now to start doing these lives, you know what I'm saying, within there a lot more, though, man. Ooh, Oh, say that shit, ball. And the plantation money, the greed was the downfall. Man, talk about it. Talk about it. Man. And even Big Boy, I felt so bad, man, because Big Boy, man, like, if he had just stayed in that field and kept picking with his wife, he wouldn't have went through all of that night. But I ain't gonna tell too much of this joint though, man. Again, I had spoiler alert in the motherfucking whatchamacallit. So you know. And if you don't know, you know now. But shout out to the gang though, man. Shout out to the fam. Yes, we back. I'm going to be doing these a lot more though, man. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I've been debating whether to do magazine dreams or not. I've been debating whether to do that. But I want to delve deep into the psychology of what was going on, because that's a very uncomfortable film, but it's a realistic film as well. But yeah, man, shout out to the family, shout out to the gang, though, man. Assalamu alaikum, no man. Peace to the ox, shots to the ops. We out.